Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for a great intro. It's truly amazing to see everyone here. I think we all know we are currently working in very tough conditions, market-wise. And seeing all of you here from the ecosystem kind of gives a good energy boost. But without further ado, maybe we should jump into this presentation. So let's start with a quick introduction. Albeit Zoe kind of made a really solid one, so it's going to be tough to follow. But yeah, so I'm the CTO of Nodle. There is a part of my team here on the slides, but we are much bigger. Unfortunately, there was not enough room for everyone. But it's worth recognizing this is a team effort here. Some credentials, I guess, for the people who are not aware of what Nodle is. It turns out we were, I believe, the second parachain, solo chain, on Substrate in production very early on, and we were among the first parachains to join Polkadot as well. But let me tell you a story about Nodle, how we started, and then I will dive into our latest work, development, and excitement, I guess. Amazing. So Nodle started as it started by realizing that smartphones are underutilized. We realized that we all have a small device in our pockets or in our hand most of the times, and we underutilize it. In most cases, it sits idle in our pockets. Yet it has so many sensors that could be used to capture data from the real world. And so we set out to build a global network that will connect small devices. That's what we presented for years. And after many years of work, we made that network truly global, spanning across most continents with access to a free internet. And we started by creating an asset tracking service on top of that network. That network is actually used in production today by customers like Rule, a car insurance company. Right? Rule is a very innovative company in France. And if you were to lose your car, they'll find it for you. But they'll find it for you through Nodle, which is really amazing. Rule is a fully enterprise customer. It is not a crypto company. And we had to do lots of work to support them. To do so, we created multiple abstractions, and we decided to focus on bringing Web3 not only to the real world, but also to corporate enterprises and consumers who are not from the crypto ecosystem. And we believe this is the best way to bring crypto adoption in general to our ecosystem by shipping real-world products to real-world companies that, unfortunately, do not want to interact directly with crypto. But we quickly realized we could do more. Our network was great. It is. I wouldn't say otherwise. But we discovered we wanted to generalize it. And so our solution was to program that network. We decided to turn the Nodle network into a fully programmable infrastructure and offer its services and abilities to you guys, really, to builders that will then develop real-world applications running on the Nodle network. And let me tell you how. Just before, let me dive into a few more details. Our solution are smart missions. Some of you may be aware of the concept that we have presented about a year ago. If you were to remember only one thing from this presentation, you should remember that smart missions are a smart contract that can interact with the real world. And that's the value we are providing today, right? We are building, and we want to build with you a platform to create real-world applications. We don't want to create yet another smart contract platform. We are creating a smart contract platform that can interact with the real world through smartphones. And such capabilities open many use cases. Most of them we probably don't know of, and we hope you will help us figure them out. But some ideas for you if you were to start building a business on Nodle tomorrow. You could start building a very easy location of asset business, which is a Rule use case I presented. Or you could start building a data intelligence network to collect, let's say, gas prices and provide that as a data source to hedge funds or other companies. But more than that, some of the use cases we're the most interested in today would be in certifying real-world data. This is a small parenthesis, but in today's age, where I think we all know AI is omnipresent, it's starting to be tough to prove what is real and what is not real. It's starting to be very hard to know what images we see online and to know where they truly come from. And we believe this is the kind of use cases we can solve with a real-world smart contract platform that could prove that pictures or data is collected at certain places and at a given time. But this is enough. Let me jump into the details. Our way to do this is through WebAssembly, which is a truly amazing technology and which already runs on Substrate. But we don't just run WebAssembly on Substrate. We run WebAssembly on a swarm of mobile phones. We actually run your smart mission both on-chain and on-device on a smartphone. Let me show you how. Put very simply, we divide a smart mission into two pieces. Okay? The first piece is going to be what we call the device code, which is what I'm going to be showcasing in a few minutes. The device code is our innovation, is a piece of WASM code that is probably written in Rust, C, or your private language. And we're going to run that on the phone in our WASM virtual machine that I'll show you in a minute. But no smart mission is complete without its chain component, which is a chain code. Developers in the room know how to write a smart contract, and this is no different. I was initially planning to single out one of you and ask for a use case, but I realized this might be a little, I could probably select an interesting use case instead. So let's take our little AI use case, which I think could be quite interesting and quite trendy and up to date. Essentially, let's say you are a builder today, and you want to deploy a smart mission, and you want that smart mission to take a picture and certify it. Let's see how you would do that. Then I'll show you a very small demo that hopefully proves my point. So this is you, a mission builder. And you are a very talented, very visionary developer. Not only a developer, a builder, right? I think builder encompasses the entrepreneurial aspect of the task. Well, you're very talented and very ambitious, so you're going to write the first smart mission on Nodle. And your way to do this is you're going to be writing, as we saw, a chain code and a device code. You're going to upload that to your Parachain and IPFS storage network. You're going to deploy to the network, which will deploy to smartphones, which we call the SDK. Smartphones run an SDK that is developed by us. With smartphones, we'll then be able to interact with the real world and piggyback to your smart contract. Very simple. Very simple, yet all the innovation behind the scenes is not so simple. But this is the value we provide, right? We make it easy for you to write smart contracts that interact with the real world without you having to worry about any complex technical challenges, so to say. So let me show you something a bit more concrete. I'm going to show you a very little demo, and I'm going to show you some more details of how we are building things. In fact, I'm going to show you such a minimal demo to show you that interacting with our environment from an application standpoint can be minimal and painless for the end user. So let's switch to this wonderful, not underthing, but this great piece of software here. So we made a very small application. In fact, it does not have much UI components. It is merely a demonstration application that we will be very happy to open source very soon. Trademarked, I guess. But I'll show you some details. So let's open this application. Obviously, this is a very sexy application, right? I think it's a work of art. No, just kidding. The point of this application is to show you that embedding a WASM VM can be done in such a simple way, right? We didn't try to stylize it. And this is here some logs coming from the phone. Okay? What I suggest is that we're going to build a mission. Amazing. The mission we defined previously, which is we want to take a picture, probably from you guys in the room, ideally, if we have enough lightning or not. And this picture will actually be minted as an NFT. So you could tell me, hey, Eliott, this very simple use case, what's the point, right? Well, the point is that this very simple use case is running within a WebAssembly virtual machine on your phone, right? This is very nerdy, but this is what we are delivering. Because give us a bit more time, and you'll be able to deploy that WebAssembly piece of code on smartphones at scale across the network. You'll be able to tell me to deploy that piece of code in San Francisco, and the network will do it for you, right? And this will be able to be custom tailored to your own use cases. And we'll see how simple this was to make in terms of WebAssembly code as well in a minute. So let's go ahead. Let's click mission. We can see in the logs that our mission was instantiated. I'm actually going to move a little so that you guys can see. So our mission was instantiated, and we have, for the astute eye, we have full WASI support. So WASI is the WebAssembly standard library, which means you can freely open files, communicate with the network, or whatever you can think of. In that sense, if you're a Substrate developer, you'll notice that it is a lot less restrictive than writing Substrate palettes. Let's go ahead. Let's take a picture. I'll probably, let's see. Probably should ask consent, actually. Selfie? I actually don't know if selfie works. So let's make a big smile here. We'll take a nice, amazing picture. We gotta love the Android smartphones. Anyways, jokes apart. Let's give it a minute. Again, we didn't try to stylize much, but you can see that some stuff is happening here in the background. In fact, we just uploaded our picture to IPFS and prepared it for a mint. And the mission is complete. Of course, the demo I'm showing you today is very minimal, very bare bone. I'll be the first to say it. And we'll close that because the app is starting to... sorry. So, of course, what I just showed you is very minimal. But let me show you what happens under the scene, in the background. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what's been running on the smartphone. You'll notice a small piece of code that is less than 30 lines, probably. That is Rust code, if you are familiar. And that is used to freely take a picture from a WASM environment, from a smartphone, and then upload it over IPFS and claim it on our chain. This piece of code was compiled to WebAssembly and deployed on the smartphone I just showed you. You'll notice a few calls to something we call libnodle. Libnodle will be a full-featured, so-called standard Nodle library that you can use to make your own smart missions. Let's say you want to do a call to your chain, you'll be able to do it. Let's say you want to do an XCM call to Fala or Moonbeam, you'll be able to do it through libnodle. Libnodle will be fully available on the WASM environment, on smartphones, whenever you write a smart mission. I know we're running out of time, and I would like to take some questions, so I'm gonna skip a few items here in this presentation. I'm actually gonna show you a few more details, though. Because we're in a WASM environment, and for the more nerdy-minded of you, you'll notice that we are able, as I mentioned previously, to create files as well, and to upload them to IPFS. Something that is not possible in a smart contract today on a restricted environment like Ethereum or Substrate. And again, this is because we run on smartphones. We are not trying to provide determinism. We're trying to provide access to real-world APIs and data. And obviously, the sky is the limit at this point. You'll notice a few more details here in our graph. This is essentially what happened today in the background. And as you can see, it sounds a lot more complex than what I just showed you. And again, this is what we are providing here. We are providing you a very simple way, a very simple abstraction to run codes on the Nodle network smartphones, which are millions of phones spread across the world, in San Francisco, in France, in the US, And we are abstracting all of that away for you. Anyways, I would love to dive into the details, but I think we have a few next slides that I want to go through. Namely, I have only showed you a teaser of what we are in the process of building, what we have been progressing on building. And I would highly recommend that if you are curious, well, first of all, come and talk to me, right? I'm here. I would love to interact with you guys. I'd love to know what you are thinking of building, what you are trying to solve in terms of real-world problems, so that we can adjust our technology to better serve you. But nonetheless, if you have some time, I would invite you to go read our Smart Mission Vision paper. And we created a single most amazing short link for you guys to remember, which is nodle.com/MVP for Mission Vision paper. Some of you will catch the pun. But nonetheless, I wanted to make sure we have time for questions. So we're going to have, I believe, about 4 minutes of questions. If you will come here tomorrow, I invite you to download the Nodle app. I believe we'll be airdropping proof of participation NFT for you attendees. So, make sure to scan the QR code, collect your NFTs. And with that being said, I think the floor is open for questions.
Wow, I was very mind-blowing what you were presenting, Eliott. Very, very cool, super innovative, running Wasm code on your phone. Hello, that's pretty cool. We have the hot mic there again, guys. Are there any questions? I think a lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
Not exactly. How, maybe if you can do, you just had the code here on to download the app actually. How easy is it to set everything up via the app?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's one of the reasons we are here today as well. So the app is very straightforward. I think that's also one of our core innovations, or that was one of our core innovations. Literally just scan the QR code, click 2 buttons. You can get started contributing to the Nodle network. You'll get nice rewards for contributing to the network. And very soon, you'll be able to get rewards for running those type of missions that we've showed. Obviously, not just minting NFTs, but participating in real-world use cases for real-world enterprises.
Cool. And maybe a follow-up question. What inspired you, actually, to bring this new innovation? Because it's an advancement on what you currently already offered, right? Running nodes or using your smartphone to run a node, but now with this, what you just presented, specifically for Wasm code, was there any specific inspiration in the ecosystem?
Not in the ecosystem.
Okay, somewhere else, also good.
we actually started by realizing it was incredibly hard to onboard new customers to our network. And as such, we decided to make the network programmable, to make it easier to onboard with people. Rule is one example. We made amazing work with them, yet we had to do some deep changes. We felt that by making the network programmable through missions, we'd be able to better support this type of customers. But then we quickly realized that a smartphone is very interesting. It's probably not the best computing platform, and it will never be. But it has sensors that no one else has. It has access to a camera, as we've seen today. It has access to a Bluetooth chipset that we've been utilizing for the past 5 years. It has access to an accelerometer. It has access to a GPS. And this opens the door for much more interactive experiences. And that's what we decided to focus on with missions. And that's kind of the story here. And we want to keep supporting real-world applications for interactive experiences through the smartphone of the end user. And then we'd love to do some computation on Fala as well.
Yes, definitely. More ecosystem use cases. Just one last question. You showed the demo from an Android phone, right? But it's available for any phone, or what's...
Will be.
Okay, so good.
No, it should be. We started on Android just because our team was more... the team working on this demo was more familiar with Android. But of course, Wasm is fully portable and is able to run both on iOS, Android, your local Raspberry Pi, your local MacBook. So, we'll be able to support lots of shiny new devices.
Cool. But only for the Wasm part. The existing Nodle app you can already download on iOS or Android or any existing phone. Cool. Thank you so much, Eliott.
Thank you so much.